think those things weigh?
Well, they weigh 350 to 400 pounds, so it's not something you want to try to navigate up, you know, 5 floors of stairs. Well, Steve, I sure hope it fits this time when they put it in.
Funding for this old house is provided by Parks Corporation, makers of safe and simple, environmentally responsible stains and finishes that enrich, protect, and preserve the natural beauty of wood. And by
State Farm Insurance, keeping our promise of protection with auto, home, life, and health insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hi, I'm Steve Thomas, and welcome back to This Old House and our final weekend here in London. Now, we started this project some 4 months ago. Ample time, we thought, to complete it, even though it was complicated. However, we didn't take sufficiently into account the effect of the planning board. That's the body which controls all the architectural changes on this street, and in fact, the whole district. So, there were delays. Now we've got today, Friday, to work. We've got tomorrow, a little bit on Sunday, and then Monday as our last possible taping day here in London, if we're to get the tapes to PBS and show them to you on time. As you can imagine, there's some pandemonium here. So without further ado, let's go up and take a look at some chaos. Hey, Norm.
Hey, Steve.
The new staircase arrived, huh?
Yeah, it arrived a couple days ago from the woodworking shop that I went through about a month ago.
Comes in sections?
Yeah, it came in 3 parts. The curved part down here, the first run of stairs here, and then the upper run of stairs up here.
Saves a lot of time, I bet.
Well, it does, but you know, you still got to put it in an existing opening. And some of these walls are way out of plumb. This platform is not really level, so it takes a little fussing around with it to get it in there.
Now, the front door of the flat goes right here.
Right about here, so there's enough room to stand outside the door without being on the stair. Opens in a fire-rated door to isolate from the rest of the unit, all the other stairways. But with this one thing that's really interesting and I think kind of ridiculous, there's yet another door to go in here.
Really?
To create a fire vestibule.
Boy, I mean, it's awful tight in here already. A fire vestibule seems ridiculous. I'd much rather have a second means of egress.
Well, I would too, but it's not required, only in new construction. Existing buildings, this is what they have to do.
It's a bit different.
Now, this flight, you might notice, is not quite level or anything. That's because it's just leaning in here. And the final installation is going to have to wait, because there's about 10 trades working up there, and there's just no way we can tie this up now.
Right. Now, over here on the outside wall, there was one large window that went right the way almost to the ceiling. Is that going to be maintained?
Well, we're still maintaining the big opening, but we're putting in 2 window units. One down here to bring light into this vestibule, which we pitch dark with 2 doors. And another window up above this framing, which is for the gallery. So it'll have light into both areas.
All right. And the ceiling in the gallery here seems awfully low and seems very cramped.
Yeah.
Is that adequate headroom?
Well, it's adequate headroom, and you're right, it does feel a little small. But if we raise it up another foot, then we're going to start crowding the headroom up in the gallery. So this is the best compromise.
Boy, it is tight in here. Have you seen our homeowner, Carla?
Yeah, she went by just a few moments ago.
Okay. Well, I promised you chaos, and chaos it is. Hi, fellas. Kitchen's going in over here. Getting exciting, isn't it?
It's all happening now, Steve.
It is.
Yeah.
What's this in your hand?
This is part of a track lighting we decided to put in over the dining area here. If you remember, we were going to have fixed lights.
Yeah.
And we decided that this would allow us flexibility, because I think we'll people want to move the table around and maybe focus on some pictures. So get that from this.
Good idea until you get to know the space.
Yeah, exactly.
What about the rest of the plan?
Got to show you what we're doing with the glass blocks in here. This is it, Steve.
Hey, that is great. This will make a very nice guest bedroom, won't it?
Yeah, I hope so.
I remember these glass block walls from when I was a kid. I used to go to my dad's factories on Saturdays, and I used to love to look through them. They let in a lot of light, and they were secure as well.
Well, we don't need the security on this wall, but I think it'll have a good effect.
Yeah. So what's the lighting scheme?
It's actually pretty cool. The guy in the lighting store chose these for me, and these are going to be tucked into the ceiling. We'll have 5 of these. And basically all you'll see is this little baffle here. And that will allow us to wash the wall with the light. And they're neat. They're only 12 volts.
12 volts. So the initial cost is a little bit higher than a line voltage system, but the operating costs are very low.
Yeah, hopefully in the long run it'll save us money.
So the idea is to get the effect in the living room.
Yes, it'll be a glow on the other side.
great.
Yeah.
So what's the rest of the scheme?
Well, let me show you the lights in the garden.
The garden? I didn't know you had one. Well, you and Jeremy must be really excited to see it all come together after all these months.
It's a great relief at this stage, more than anything, Steve.
Yeah. So I'm waiting for the garden.
My parapet is my garden.
Yeah.
Although it's walled off, we're going to have big windows along the side, and I think it would be a nice idea to put some plants out and take advantage of that space.
Yes,
so.
indeed. So you'll have a lighting plan of some sort?
Yes, and a fairly substantial one at that.
Look at that.
These are our outdoor lights.
I see. So these will hang on the sidewall. You'll have several of them?
Two.
Two.
Yeah.
And you'll just light the plants at night?
I think that will give more of a perception of space as well.
Indeed. Yeah. Good. Well, how about the kitchen? How are you going to handle that?
The kitchen, again, is going to have recessed lights. These fairly simple ones, tucked into the ceiling, and also lights underneath the cabinet to light up the work surface.
Right. Very good.
So, yeah.
Good plan. This thing looks like it's part of a space probe or something. What's this?
Actually, that's a
What's
really
this
good
all about?
description. The guy in the light shop thought we needed this. I was telling him about Jeremy's Thai Buddha,
Thai Buddha.
which is going to be placed over here. And basically, this will allow us to wash it with light.
So in the middle of the night, the Buddha will glow serenely.
And other bits and bobs around the room. So.
Great. Well, I'll let you get on with your final planning.
Thanks, Steve.
Hey, David.
Hi.
Can I grab you for just a minute?
A minute? Yeah, sure. I've got all the time in the world.
I know it's a madhouse around here, but I wanted an update on the steel. This upright's got to come out, right, and be replaced with a diagonal.
That's right. Yeah, we've finally got the details for that from the engineer. And, well, I think the whole of England stopped to get our steels in on time. They're arriving on Monday, complete with crane. We're going to be craning them in. We're going to be spot welding temporary supports to hold up the structure up there. And, well, so we'll refabricate that then.
Well, it'll happen on Monday. That's our last day in London.
You'll see it. You'll see it.
That's true. You know, it's no wonder you guys won the Battle of Britain. You're totally open to the weather over here. Over here, you're doing the most priceless kitchen in this part of London.
We know no fear.
That's obvious. How is it going?
Well, fine, it's going well. You might remember we were very worried about this corner here because of the new inclined mansard. That was pinching space on this fridge freezer cabinet. But we've had to take the top cabinet off and we've lowered it and then we've just got it in. It's been millimetres.
Well, it's just like fitting cabinets into a yacht, isn't it?
Right.
All right, I'll let you get on with it. I want to check out the master bath.
OK, I'll see you later.
Simon, have you got a bucket of water, please? Thank you.
Now, this is going to be a really nice bathroom. And in here is our master tile man, Terry Harrow.
Oh, hello there.
You call yourself a tile man here in the UK?
Well, actually, we call it tile fixers in England.
Tile fixer, I love that.
Right.
So you've got a porcelain tile up here, which is very clean and crisp looking.
Right, they're 200 by 200 or 8 inch by 8 inch, whatever way, you know, and they're white porcelain tile.
But down below, something completely different.
Well, yes, it's sort of an imitation riven slate effect, as you can see the ripples on there, you know. It's,
So it looks like slate, but it's a ceramic.
yeah, it's a vitrified tile, you know, actually, you know. It doesn't mark like slate.
Right. And then what's this?
This is a dividing strip, you know, it's a chrome, plastic strip actually, with chrome plated, and it's a dividing strip to go through to disguise the two different sizes in joints.
I see. So they're slightly different, and that's a way to hide the difference in size.
Right, yeah, you don't detect it so much.
What are you going to use for grout here?
It's a mortar-based, cement-based adhesive.
Mortar?
Cement-based grout.
What
Yeah,
colour?
It's grey, light grey.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I love these sinks. I love the way they float here. And they're just sort of half on and half off, and disguises all the plumbing.
Yeah, right.
What's this here?
Well, these are actually access panels, you know, so that the plumber at a later date, if there's any problems, can get back. These they're cut out at a later date. Yeah. Tiles fixed on there like that. They've got magnetic catches, and you just push the access panel and they drop out.
Kidding.
You know, you
Very
don't actually
clever.
see the access panels. You know, same on the top as well.
And same slate-like stuff on the counter here.
Yeah, exactly the same.
What's the orange stuff?
It's a waterproof membrane, actually. You know, it's a double protection against water going into the walls behind.
In the States, we'd use a cementitious backer board.
Oh, right.
Then you
yeah.
got the lead lining for the tub, and there'll be a wooden tub laid in there later.
That's right, yeah.
And then a stoop here.
Yeah, right. I took these back and ground them all off in the workshop, so you've got a nice smooth edge and they're not rough to the feet, you see.
All right. It's going to look very nice.
Yeah.
I'll let you get back to it.
Right,
Thanks.
okay, thanks very much.
Well, up here on the roof, our homeowners had hoped to put a roof deck, but it's by no means certain that the Planning Commission will allow that. But we have hopes. Hey, Norm.
Hey, Steve.
What do you think of this changeable British weather?
Oh, it's unbelievable. We're real lucky. The sun's out one moment, then it's raining and blowing, and it really starts rattling up here, but so far so good.
Yeah, sometimes you wonder if this whole superstructure is not going to carry away with the wind blowing the way it's been.
Well, I hope not.
So you got a whole load of wood from the States.
Yeah, oak flooring. And it's just a standard 2 1/4 inch tongue and groove oak flooring. And I guess we won't see it installed, and it's not something you want to rush into, you know, because this oak has been transported over. It's been in all different kinds of storage situations, and the last thing you want to do is take it and just lay it down, because if you do, more than likely it's picked up some moisture in its trip over here, and it's going to shrink, so you're going to get gaps possibly like that. So what David Booth is going to have to do is, once he gets closed up down below, bring all this flooring material down in the space where it's going to be installed and let it sort of acclimate so that it balances itself with the humidity in the house and the heat. That way, when it's installed, it'll sort of minimize the spaces that will develop in the floor. You know, it's not a permanent solution because wood does move and it's going to expand and contract, but if he was to take it right now, he'd have trouble.
Okay. And we have a load of oak here that appears to be 5/4.
Right. We have some 1 inch oak stock that's going to be used for all the door jambs and the trim, so that it all match together.
This is gorgeous stuff, isn't it?
It is nice material.
Now, you've received a whole load of hardware, I understand?
Yeah, I've been looking at that. It's pretty interesting. There's a lot of it. And it's a whole look that they've tried to get
look
here.
At this stuff.
Yes, you know, this is the hinge, typical door hinge.
Yeah.
With bronze little spaces in there. It helps it work smoothly and not wear so quickly. This is the set for the front door. It's a keyed lock, and there's these stainless steel escutcheons. So it's a very simple look. You know, there's just escutcheons that cover the key, heavy-duty levers, and, you know, strong bolts and so forth.
Gorgeous.
Some wire pulls, sort of a long extended wire pull for either a window or for cabinet hardware. I mean, look at this doorknob. It's heavy duty, very finely machined stainless steel. Right down to even the paper holders for the bathroom.
Wow.
Including a stainless steel little storage container for the toilet brush.
Is it overkill a little bit?
Well, it's a look, you know, it's a look. And then there's things like this, which is a really sort of high-tech engineered piece. It's a door closer, and you won't see any of this. This whole mechanism here will be mortised into the top of the door, and then this piece will be mortised into the jamb. So it'll just be a little space that you'll see, and it'll magically open and close all the doors.
Very fancy. You know, looking at all this stuff reminds me of the British love of complicated engineering.
That's right.
And I saw an amazing example of that the other day when I took a trip down the Thames to see the Thames barrier. It is really something. Take a look. Ah, the mighty River Thames, maybe the most prominent natural feature of the City of London. It was once the city's economic lifeline, but today, with containerized cargo and truck transport, most of the traffic you're likely to see on the river is floating restaurants and tourist boats. But for natural aesthetics, it's hard to beat. Now, you got to remember the Thames is a tidal river, and that means not only is it filled with fresh water flowing downstream, but twice a day it's flooded by the sea. And sometimes the combination of the two can have disastrous results. In 1953, for example, an extreme high tide flooded the entire Thames estuary, with a loss of 300 lives. And for a while, even central London was threatened. The trouble starts when a storm in the Atlantic passes north of Scotland and east over Denmark and Germany. Low pressure and northerly winds bring huge quantities of water into the North Sea. Driven south, this water forms a surge tide that comes up the Thames estuary, raising the level of the river by up to 8 feet. When that coincides with a high tide, you've got a flood. And while the combination of storm and high tide doesn't occur that often, the thought of it so terrified the City Council that in 1972 they raised £500 million and commissioned a movable barrier to be built downstream. Well, I think the best view of the barrier is from right here, the river itself. We're only about 6 miles downriver of Big Bend. Well, that's it. 9 concrete piers driven into the very riverbed. Now, those clamshell-like roofs that you see up on top there, clad in stainless steel, don't move at all. They're just there to house the machinery. We're passing over the gates, which will swing up in the event of a threat to the City of London. Now, you can't actually see them. To do that, we should go over and check out a model that's in the Visitors Center.
Well, this is a model of one of the characteristic barrier gates. It starts from the open position, where the flow of the river is entirely unobstructed. The sill is below the riverbed level. Now, it's moved by those hydraulic rams that you see up there.
One pulling, one pushing.
One pulling, one pushing, acting on a triangular rocking beam. And that, in turn, pulls on a drive pin in the gate.
So it's sort of like an old steam locomotive, isn't it?
Very similar. Large forces involved, 1,500 tons of pull and 1,500 tons of push.
How much does the gate weigh?
The gate weighs about 3,500 tons. It was in the closed position. It's now moving on beyond the closed position, at which point the main machine has lost its mechanical advantage. And we have to use that secondary machine that you see now retracting.
So it's like a ratchet mechanism, really.
Like a ratchet mechanism. It can move the gate through 30 degrees.
Now, why do you want to open it further than fully open? How is that closed?
It enables us to allow water to pass under the gate, and it takes the energy out of the incoming tide so that we don't get levels created downriver greater than they would have been in nature.
I see. Well, the machinery itself looks wonderful in the model. Any chance we could see it in real life?
Yes, of course. We can take you out through these service tunnels and visit one of the piers. Right. We're in the base of the piers, about 6 meters below water level, and we are just entering one of 2 tunnels that go right across the river. 2 for reliability.
If one floods?
Right. The other one will stay in service. Right. We're now in the lowest level of this service tunnel.
How deep are we?
We're a metre below the riverbed level of concrete above our heads, and there's 6 meters of water now because it's low tide, 13 meters at high tide. 900 feet of tunnel now here, 4 sill units, 5 piers.
Where are all the racks?
Well, these are all our control cables run in these upper racks. The 2 lower racks are 11,000 volt main power supply cables.
And I bet there's a lot of redundancy built in here, too.
Yes, every pier has 2 11,000 volt supplies drawn from different banks. The little red wires are heat sensing cables, so if one of these cables starts to malfunction, it will ring the fire bells.
Amazing. Bit of a breeze out here.
Very exposed. We're on the crane deck of Pier 8, and that's Pier 7 over there. Between us is a main gate. The round black object is the gate arm. The triangular yellow object is the rocking beam. You remember that rotates in the air to pull the gate round, and it's rotated by hydraulic rams pulling on the top corner, pushing on the bottom. If you come in here, you can see the ram.
All housed in this housing here with a stainless steel covering, eh?
Right. This is one of the main gate rams. Remember, there's a pair on this pier, one downstairs, which is pushing, and this one pulls. To make it work, we pump oil in through that brown pipe at a bit over 1 ton a square inch. There's a bit under 1,500 square inches of piston inside the cylinder, and that moves back, generating the force of 1,500 tons.
Now, where do you control all this machinery?
Well, for preference, from central control.
Can we look at that?
We'll go and have a look. Well, here we're in the control room on level 7 of the control tower. This half of the room, the weather forecasting happens, and that tells us the need for closure. If a need for closure is detected, the action moves to this side of the room, where we have all the control panels we need to tell us that we have healthy electrics, that we have navigation lights, that we have the gate control panels.
Right. Now, how many times have you actually closed the barrier?
We've closed it 10 times in anger against surge tides.
And it worked just fine?
Perfectly. Never had a problem with it.
Well, it's very impressive. Thanks for showing it to us, and I, for one, will sleep a lot better tonight.
Glad you could come along.
Well, it's our last day here at this old house, London. So, Norm, what's all this then?
Well, Steve, over the years, I've seen a lot of our projects go down to the last taping day, but it's supposed to be steel finish nails, not structural steel.
How much do you think those things weigh?
Well, they weigh 350 to 400 pounds, so it's not something you want to try to navigate up, 5 floors of stairs. And once those go in, the ones that we're replacing have to be brought back down. So the crane is really a necessary element.
I hope they fit.
Well, Finn, what do you think? It looks a little bit long.
Apparently so, yeah. It's certainly not going to go back like that. The guys are going to have to burn some metal off the bottom of it.
Right, because you can't push that up.
Yeah,
You're all plastered.
We're level across the top. The steelwork hasn't moved.
Right.
But for some reason, this length seems to be too long.
So they'll cut it with a torch and
Yeah, they'll cut
swing
it
it
back.
back.
And swing it back, and then that'll weld in again.
Good luck.
On one side of the flat, structural steel. On the other side, Carlos talking furniture with design consultant Peter Leonard. Hey, Peter, how did you tackle a space like this?
Well, normally we would start a little bit earlier than today, but let's walk through it and see the best way of dealing with it.
In other words, your firm would do the design as well as the
We would
interior
normally do
decoration.
that, but given the situation, I think what we have to try and do is to make this big open plan space work for Jeremy and Carla. We have to articulate the space in a very practical way. Every inch has to be used. And for that reason, I would put a round table here, a little round hall table, like a guéridon or something, so that when you enter the space, you've immediately got the impact of that.
So that tells you that it's an entry area.
Absolutely, but it also means that on a day-to-day basis, you can have 2 people sitting there to eat.
Right.
For a formal dinner party, you could extend it out with extra leaves and bring it out into this space further.
As an entertaining area.
Absolutely.
Yep.
As you come up the stairs, you'll want a focal point facing you on this wall underneath the window when it gets in there.
Well, you've got that with your Buddha, right?
Exactly,
Yeah,
yes.
absolutely. We'll put the Buddha there, beautiful spotlight over it, and a couple of chairs either side which you can use at the dining table.
Right. You see this space as being empty?
I would leave this completely empty, and then I would make the most of this space over here for the sitting area. Now, the first thing we have to do is find a focal point for this wall, and so I would flush it across, get rid of this little jog here, and then I would put a beautiful, elegant mantelpiece in here, maybe from an architectural salvage.
How about furniture?
Furniture, simple coffee table, glass table, so it doesn't dominate the space. Then over here, we'll need a big comfy sofa, something that's quite big and grand.
Chairs here?
A couple of little side chairs, that's all we need here. We've got the staircase in the middle, and then on either side of the staircase, here and here, maybe your pair of Thai temple lions, again with spotlights over it, so it's very
Sounds good. We need
dramatic.
somewhere for
Master
that.
bedroom?
Master bedroom. Well, we have very little choice in here because the space is very limited, but we can really only put the bed on this wall.
Right.
So I think what I would do is get rid of this jog as well, so that the headboard can go here and a couple of little side tables, one on either side.
We've tended to keep this because we're going to lose a bit of space by getting rid of it.
Well, you've got a lot happening in this room with all these angles. I think that by getting rid of this, you'll make the room look bigger.
Oh, really?
So I would do that.
So clean it up.
Clean it up, it's less is more. On this wall over here, we need some extra storage space because this closet really isn't enough, I don't
No.
think, for a master
No.
bedroom. So I would tend to build something here, or a piece of freestanding furniture, drawers in it, maybe a hanging rail, and then maybe you can have your video and TV at the top so that you can lie in bed and watch.
I like the sound of that, yes.
Okay.
What about my toiletries? There's not much storage in the bathroom at all.
Yeah, well, I think we can accommodate that over here with a little dressing table, a little mirror on top, some drawers, and just a dining chair here, which you can use to make up with, but which you can use in the dining area when you have a formal dinner party, so you don't have to hide it away.
We're
Terrific.
going to save on storage, yeah.
Guest bedroom?
Guest bedroom, well, let's go through and have a look at that. Well, again, the only possible place to put a bed in this room is against this wall here.
We've thought about using this as a study during the day, so possibly a sofa bed.
Yeah, sofa bed is a brilliant idea because that'll double up the piece of furniture. Again, little side tables either side, maybe with some drawers in it because you need the storage space.
Right.
And maybe over here, Because it's a study and a bedroom, you can have a little desk unit here, which you can use also as a dressing table for when guests come.
That sounds great. Yeah.
And then over on this wall, I think I'd be inclined to put a little chest of drawers, a beautiful small piece that's very elegant, doesn't take up too much room. And that's about it. I think generally the principle would be to keep it as simple as possible with a few really nice objects.
That sounds lovely. Yeah.
Good, I'll let you guys get on with it. I just saw Jeremy come in. I want to see how he likes his new kitchen. Cheers.
Okay.
Well, Jeremy, don't look so downcast. The kitchen's finished anyway.
Yeah, small blessings. It looks good though, doesn't it?
It does. It looks very good.
I like the way they've built in the all the appliances. It's sort of like a cabinet door, and behind it you've got
And there's a refrigerator
fridge,
behind it.
freezer down below.
Freezer below?
Yeah.
Well, it really helps out in an open plan apartment like this, doesn't it? Because everything looks like furniture.
Exactly.
The range.
Range, nice little streamline.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Retractable knobs. Great.
Exactly.
So when do you think the whole flat will be done enough for you to get in?
Oh, no, I'm being evicted in about 2 weeks' time, so hopefully it'll be by then.
So done or not, you're going to be
exactly.
in here, huh?
Realistically, though, I'm being told the current estimate has it for about 4 weeks.
Yeah. Well, as you know, this is the last show, and it's the last possible moment that we could film the last show. So we won't abandon you, however. We will be back within 2 months, and you will see those scenes in next year's run of shows.
Meanwhile, Steve, we've got 40 of our closest friends for our first housewarming, so I think we should go and join
party,
them.
so let's go.
David, what does this mean? I was wrong.
A good political statement, I think.
It's been terrific to work with you, David.
Well, it's been great. I've really enjoyed it. I just wish it had been finished, for today. But I'm looking forward to you coming back and seeing it all done.
And London is one of my favorite cities.
Well, we've had a lot of fun, and we've met some great people, and we learned a lot.
We did indeed. And we'll bring you folks back to see the Voglers all moved into their completed apartment. You'll see that sometime at the beginning of next season. So until then, I'm Steve Thomas.
And I'm Norm Abram.
For This Old House.
Cheers.
Funding for This Old House is provided by Parks Corporation, makers of safe and simple, environmentally responsible stains and finishes that enrich, protect, and preserve the natural beauty of wood. And by
State Farm Insurance. Keeping our promise of protection with auto, home, life and health insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
This is PBS.
Steve Thomas's book, This Old House Kitchens, can be ordered by calling 1-800-441-3000. Fully illustrated with photos and drawings, this softcover reference presents every aspect of kitchen design and construction. The price is $24.95 plus handling. Please have your credit card ready. The book is also available in bookstores and libraries nationwide.